99% of the world just sleepwalk through life and live an automatic life. One of the keys to my happiness and fulfillment and just content is firing myself out of jobs every week. We're all smart people, right? We can do anything, but we can't do everything.
Today on the Doctor Moe Show, it's Moe and Doza. So before we even get into the banter, because this is what we do, I want to know, I know what I've read, but black and white is never going to be the real Doza. I have a really good feeling.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So tell me who you are. And before we get in too deep, I really need to know about the Guinness World Record.
Oh, cool. Okay, my name's Doza, Andrew Handosa if I'm in trouble or if you're the police. I ex-corporate for however been 20 years or so, obviously with my funny accent. In fact, I don't have the accent, you guys have the accent. But
Sure.
I now run, ex-corporate, now run an academy for business owners in the health and fitness space. So I had a gym and made every bad decision I could make, trying to get this gym off the ground, trying to get this gym to make some money. And yeah, everyone's done that. And so I've gone through the University of University of Business and come through on the other side. And now I've had the privilege and the honor of helping over 1,000 entrepreneurs in over 10 countries take their business from stuck, slow, and then being in, hectic burnout to building $1 million businesses. And so we have an academy called the Doctor Moe Academy, and that's what we do all day long. We are probably shit at everything else. This we're good at.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I am good at right now too many things. And I honestly feel like that's what we all need, right?
Well, I
We all
can
need a
obviously
Doza.
say, I can honestly say to you, one of the keys to my happiness and fulfillment and just content is sacking myself, firing myself out of jobs every week. Things that I'm okay at, I don't need to do anymore though. To get to the
Tell
point,
me
my
more.
North Star principle here.
Talk dirty to me. Tell me more.
Yeah, the North Star principle here for me is we can, and here's the big nugget for yourself and your listeners. And this is what I believe. We're all smart people, right? We can do anything, but we can't do everything. And so that for me, we can do anything, but we can't do everything. That for me has been a great liberator. And I review myself at the end of every week. I can talk to you about that in a second. It's like a routine that it's my big thing. But I review myself at the end of every week and I ask myself, did I spend 80% of my time in the green zone? Now, the green zone, like the Doza zone, is the things that only Doza can do, that only I can do. I only do what only I can do. And generally, hopefully those things are health related. Something you might not know, but 2 years ago, I had a STEMI. I had 15 minutes to live.
Did you?
I did. I had a STEMI. I had 15 minutes to live. I now sit here with 3 stents in my heart and take 10 tablets a day, right? So I'm bouncing back from that. And I almost died working on a business that I hated. So I've completely transformed everything, my life, my health, the people around me, and like a beacon for, like, it is my mission. So number one, my health. Have I looked after my health that week? Number two, making money, right, with the business, am I moving this business forward? And number three, with the relationships, people that I love and care for. I've got a family at home. I've got 3 kids under 10. It's busy in the Doza house.
Yeah. So was the STEMI, and for those of you out there who, a lot of my listeners are docs, but some are not. A STEMI is, we tell people in emergency medicine, hey, when patients ask, how's my EKG? I said, well, we got 3 kinds of EKG, normal, abnormal, and oh shit. Well, the STEMI is the oh shit. Okay, so that's the move fast, fast, fast. We have amazing potential to fix it and save lives, right? So the STEMI is go. And I'm old enough and been practicing long enough that the whole STEMI protocols with STEMI alerts, that was during my medical education and residency and probably practice, that actually started here in the US. I don't know what it's like there. I'm sure it's the same. But so was that the point? Was that the turning point that did you go back to work after that? Did you go back to corporate after your heart attack?
I was already in this business. I was already in this
Okay.
business, but it was an earlier version of this business so 7:50 in the morning, tap, 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 tap. I was just tapping away on my keyboard, working on my business, just like any other morning. I've had thousands of mornings just like this at 7:50. By 8 o'clock, something was wrong. I just knew something was wrong. By the time I got to the hospital, when the nurse in emergency put on the last plug of the EKG, ECG, you're 100% right. All hell broke loose. She pressed all the buttons, everything, it just alarms the whole situation. Anyway, I'm in the resus room. I had magnesium drips in me, potassium drips in me. Everyone's Mr. Handosa, what's going on? So, like, I can still get emotional thinking about just how overstimulating it was with my wife and
How old were you then?
I was 40. I'm 42 now, so I was 40 and healthy. Like I train 5 days a week and all that kind of stuff, right? Eating healthy, whole foods, all that kind of stuff. Like, no family history of heart stuff. Don't smoke, don't drink, don't do drugs. Okay. So my wife and my 1-year-old at the time sort of watching this ordeal happen, like in the resus room. It was really, anyway. So there I am, time's running out. I'm freezing. I'm in the operating theatre. Everyone's getting ready. It's like a little stadium in the hospital here. It's got a heart clinic in that hospital, luckily, where I live. And it was full systems go. I was fading. Like, I genuinely was fading. I thought this was it. I actually got to a point where, and I've spoken to other people that have been in this sort of situation, I got to a point, and it still gets a bit emotional, but I got to the point where I just accepted that this is it, and I just surrendered. And it was, as the crescendo was, peaking in that moment where everyone was about to do the operation, and I had just enough in me. I had enough, juice in the battery to kind of make a deal with myself, which is, if I get through this, if I survive this, if I get through this, I'm going to make some changes to my life. The realization was, I was working on a business I didn't actually love anymore. I'll make a change to that. Certain people in my life can make a change to that, and the impact that I want to create. It's like, fuck that. If I get through the other side of this thing, I'm going to make this the best thing that happened for me. It's a slight language shift, and I'm going to make the biggest. I'm going to make the biggest impact I can in the world on the backside of this. And then here I am.
Love that. I do.
And I've changed
I was actually
everything.
diagnosed in November with a plaque in my LAD.
Really?
And yeah. Because, doctors know better, right? And it's no family history. It's not, I've had high cholesterol for 10 years that I've known of, but I'll always get it. I'll get it under control. And I didn't. And I was actually cleared by a heart doctor 2 years ago to do Ironman, and got through 2/3 of it. I wasn't strong enough on the bike then. I was also 50 pounds heavier. And having that realization, nowhere near where you were. But people in the ER, my colleagues, looked at me like the healthy one.
Yeah.
I worked nights for 15 years. I've done 7 Ironmans, completed 7 Ironmans, a bunch of marathons. I know what to eat, right? My frontal lobe, though, doesn't drive the bus, so then there's that. So when you say that, I'm grateful, number one, that we're here having this talk.
Yeah, same.
Because you're here, and I'm not out at mile 80 on the bike, dead on the side of the road.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Because although modern medicine has its flaws, for sure, there are certain amazing things that we can find out and we can do. And that's what I do with physicians now, is I work on them getting a proactive baseline so they know what's in there. Because my husband's an ER doc, and he actually said to me before I went in for that test, if you have coronary artery disease, I quit.
I quit. Did you say, okay, really?
Because he's like, you can't. There's no way. And I came out with a 20% stenosis from an LAD plaque.
Has he been tested?
Yep. Nothing.
Because they told me being a male was a risk factor.
Yep. Oh, he's much more likely than I am to have it. But 15 years of nights, 45 years of binge eating, always being stressed. Always. And high cholesterol. The combo is not pretty. I mean, that's stress. We don't give it its due. We don't.
Stress?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It's interesting. Do you know the other thing what it's done is, like, if you look at my TikTok feed right now, scroll, it's either about the Luka trade to the Lakers, what Kendrick Lamar did at halftime, and everyone doing the reaction videos to that situation, or it's like medicine 3.0 stuff, because I am in, right? I'm in. I'm in the bonus round now. I'm in the sequel. It is my job. I have to. And as a CEO with plenty of things on, I've got a podcast, I'm doing a book, I've got to show up for my people, I've got a community of people who like I'm responsible for. I feel that responsibility that I need to really focus on energy production and sleep and the gym and the non-negotiables and this, that, and the other. And I create that as a culture in my business. Part of our performance development plans with the people that are in my business, like I've got about 15 staff, their health goals is what we talk about as well. Like how many steps they're getting a day is what we talk about as well. A lot of my coaching team are high rocks athletes, and they train, like that. And it's really when we fly around and we meet up and we do like collaboration days together, we always train together first. We eat whole foods. None of us really drink, because it's about, and there's definitely a culture here in Australia that people aren't, they're drinking a lot less now.
Good. Well, that's another thing, with Medicine 3.0, and I mean, and honestly, God bless Peter Attia for what he's done.
Peter Attia, I'm always on his stuff.
Yes, to bring this to the forefront, because I don't think we can change it from the top down. I just don't think so. I mean, I tried to change things in my own department and it got me fired. So
Really?
yeah, same job, but I was in this department overnight for 12 years, loved it, planned on working there until the end of my career. And they farmed me out to a tiny little ER because I'm loud. I'm the worst employee ever.
I was the same.
But then it doesn't fit, right? Because then you're trying to move the Titanic. When instead,
as like an intrapreneur, change agent, disruptor.
Yes, and you want to be the linchpin, right? You want Seth Godin, you want to be the linchpin.
Yes.
You want to be the one to enact the change and steer the ship, when in fact you'd be better off just grabbing a lifeboat, grabbing a couple of the good guys and going. Saving people. You fit quite a few people in those lifeboats. Let's go.
Yeah, it's like that Jerry Maguire when he picks up the goldfish. Who's coming with me? It was just Renee.
I love that. I need a goldfish.
You do need a goldfish, and just reenact that scene for socials.
Yes, I have the pout fish that my kid has in his room. I'll get the pout fish. We'll bring him in. We're going.
Yeah. But I'm really big now on creating a life by design, not by disappointment. And the first thing you've got to take into consideration, the first thing is what I said on Nathan's podcast is, what do you want? Like shaking people. That's what I do. I'm the chief shaker in my academy. What do you, and then that relates to like, my 4 pillars are, there's like business, there's personal, which is like health, there's wealth to make sure there's a tomorrow. And then, there's relationships, which is a real big part of it. And right now, like a lot of what I'm going to be talking about in my book and what I'm really big on since the heart attack is that entrepreneur wellness is absolutely, it's been proven now. There are studies that it is a predictor to profitability. It's not at odds with.
As Dan Martell says, bank accounts and belt buckles.
It's not at odds anymore. My team don't need to lie to me about or hide the fact that they're going to the gym at 10:30. I don't care. Go to the gym. Good, go. It's like mood regulation and like because like they've all got goals. We've all got goals. We've told each other what our goals are at the start of the year. Like, so when we get to our monthly meetings, this is how much like we're a well-centered business. Well as in like wellness, well-being, that sort of stuff is when we get to our all hands monthly meeting, we call it the 77 because it goes for 77 minutes, is like we go through company wins, but then we go through personal wins and health wins and where are we at with the things that we said we would do this year. And we're kind of a little accountability circle for each other.
I love that idea. I'm like, okay, how can we do this? I need a goldfish and I need a meeting length. But it's structured, right? You bring it in and your company, everyone in your company has goals. And right now, on ours, for example, we are too busy. We have too many tasks. So we're bringing on other specialized, like we kind of talked about a little bit earlier. You're very good at that one thing. We're bringing in people who are very good at this one thing. So we can be 80% in our green zones. And that's what we're building. So tell me, I'm not going to let you off the hook for this one. Okay, tell me about the Guinness World Record before I ask about
Well,
the
yeah.
company.
Okay, so Guinness World Record, I worked for a company called Telstra. It's Australia's largest brand. It's a big telecommunication company. It's probably like your Verizon. And at the time, just around the time that the iPhone launched in Australia, I'm showing my age now, we
Okay,
had
I
the
got you.
largest
You're
and
good.
we had the largest and fastest national 3G at the time, 3G network. And I just found myself, I was a little marketing intern in a room full of other marketers, people way smarter than me, I thought. And they were talking about campaigns and this, that, and the other. And I just thought to myself, well, hang on, if it is in fact the world's largest and fastest, that feels like one of those Guinness Book of Record things. Now, I didn't want to tell anyone because I was just a shitty little intern that no one was going to listen to in between me getting the coffees and photocopying stuff for everyone. Okay. So I was like, I'm going to do this myself because, like you, a bit of an entrepreneur, I was always that disruptor, left field thinker. So I contacted the Guinness Book of Records. Now, they operate out of, this is for all your listeners, this was back in 2006. So they operated out of a little office on the second floor of a building somewhere in London. Okay. And at the time, I'm now really showing my age. At the time, you could only contact them via fax. Right? Now, I didn't know anyone over there because I hadn't lived there yet, because that did happen in 2011, 12, 13. But at that time, I didn't know anyone out there yet. But I was friends with the EA of the head of the brand and marketing team. Okay. Her name was V. Shout out to V. V's dad is an eclectic guy who's semi-homeless and a busker in the London Underground. So V got some details to her dad, who then walked it upstairs to this office and handed over a memo from me saying, "There's this person over in Australia wants to get the Guinness, record for something." Anyway, I thought nothing of it. Days went by, weeks went by, and then I woke up to a letter from the office of the Guinness World Records, and they said, "Okay, we got your application. This is what we need to do to get it proven." Now, at this point, I still didn't want to tell anyone. So I was like, oh my God, the office has contacted me. So I went and got all this proof as this intern. Went and got all this proof from the engineering team, from this, and they're all, "What are you asking me these questions for?" Nah, don't worry about it. Anyway, I submitted it all, and then a couple of days went by, and I woke up to, "Congratulations, you're now in the Guinness Book of Records," and we got the certificate. And I went, and that's when I told my boss. I went, "I just got us in the Guinness Book of Records for having the world's largest and fastest national mobile broadband network." And they just went, "You did what?" I went, "Here it is." And then next minute, full page press release, publicity, it turned into massive campaigns and the whole situation. And I've got the book. And I've got the entry in there. They gave me the book as a present. Happy days.
That as an intern, right? Just
As an intern.
I want to make a difference.
I want to make a difference. And if I look at all the things that, I've done that I thought were pretty cool, I never kind of waited for permission. I never waited for an invite for it. Just like yourself and all your listeners that are the disruptors, the restless ones, the ones that are striving for more and like they are brave enough to make the shift, is like, I think I'm going to back myself here. I reckon I've got something that I'm going to go with. 99% of the population would have just fell asleep with that thought and not done anything with it and sort of died with that thought. And I'll tell you, since the heart attack, whatever handbrake was there, it's not anymore, because you know what? At the end of the day, Doctor Moe, it's like we're all gonna end up in the same place, and no one gets out of this alive.
I say that quite often. That nobody dies alone, but that's another.
Yeah.
That's a remnant of the past, hopefully. Well, I'm sure I'll be around it again, as always. But the appreciation of the appreciation of life before you knew you had to, right? So you were back then. You acted as if you had had a heart attack and thought, "I'm not going to let this thought go. I'm going to live this life. I'm going to live this life the way it's presented to me." And you get a cool idea. I mean, how many cool ideas, like you said, go to die on a pillow? And
the cemetery is full of great ideas. That was never the issue. It wasn't because people didn't have ideas. It's operating from and this is the great Australian saying. I'm sure it might live somewhere else in the world, but it's living with this notion about, we're not here to fuck spiders. We are here to make shit happen. We only get one shot at this. I'm lucky enough to have the second, right? But not everyone gets that. And I paid for it. There's a bit of trauma there that I'm working through, therapy, etc., which I'm down for. And I'll talk about with everyone. So It's a beautiful thing, actually. Yeah, like 99% of the world just sleepwalk through life and live an automatic life. I just want to like start a revolution of people that just kind of stand up and decide what they want and then spend every waking moment of their life violently going after it. And I don't care what it is. It doesn't need to build empires. You don't need to have millions of dollars. I don't care what it is. No one should tell you what you need. The word should, get that out. Like, no,
No,
no about the
stop
shoulds.
shitting all over yourself.
Yeah.
But and that's the thing. I think the same thing. Yesterday we have my patients have happy hour. We have about 1,000 patients in our practice, and we have happy hour. Every Wednesday we get together for happy hour on Zoom, of course, because we're 50 state provider, and we just BS. All three of my nurse practitioners were on there yesterday, and they said they called me a perfectionist. And I said, I don't feel like I'm a perfectionist. I screw up every day. You guys see this every day. And they're like, yeah, but you pushed me to be better. I said, I just won't settle for mediocrity. There's a difference.
Good. Because you and everyone in your world, I want us all to say this, we are allergic to average. Allergic to average. Anytime you go to a health spot and they go, any allergies? You go, codeine and average.
I love it. I am allergic to average. And that's honestly, those are my people. I've worked with physicians in the past that honestly, they've tried to make the shift with me. And at the end of the day, it's easier to go work another shift until it isn't. And that's the part, it's like when you're doing a marathon, you plan in walk breaks because you walk before you have to. You rest before you have to.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I can't remember Gordon's last name. One of the this definitely shows my age. So he was, like Jeff Galloway, where you condition your body to use those different muscles because then if that backs into your hamstrings from your quads, you shift your blood flow. If you walk for a minute, and then you can go longer because you're prepared. It's your plan. You are planning to go instead of the great explosion at mile 18. Where you run and they're like poof and there you are, and then you walk the rest. And it's so funny, and I'll never forget, I was doing a 70.3 half Ironman a bunch of years ago, and one of the local triathletes says to me, "You're always running." I'm like, "I'm not always running. I have walk breaks scheduled, but I'm just trotting along having a good time because number one, I'm doing it and it's fun, and I'm not out here if I'm not having fun. I don't care how fast I am." But you plan walk breaks. You plan your rest. So why don't we do that in life? Why don't we plan, like for the physicians that I work with, plan to have an extra 10K a month recurring revenue from something that feeds your soul to give you the breathing room. So you don't have to work that extra shift. There it is.
Love that. I love that. And that's also how I think a lot of the reasons why people are blocked to do what they want is because they have this sense of guilt with it. Mm-hmm. My thing is, along the lines of what you just said, is like plan for it, but also like have the conversations with whoever you need to in the background to get pre-agreements with people that alleviate the guilt. And that way, if you've got the plan, you work the plan and you do it freely because you're not doing it with any guilt or any resentment, or you're not feeling like there's outside people that are giving you all this extra pressure because you've had the pre-agreements with people. So I'm big on that as well. I'll give you an example. One of the things that I'm really big on, and with all the CEOs in my academy, is doing what I call CEO weekends or CEO retreats. And they're solo retreats. For me, everything good in my businesses and in my life and real like needle moving shifts that I've come up with has happened not from sitting here at this desk. It's not from staring at a blank screen. It's from me staring at a wall somewhere in the woods and a cabin, staring at a fire. Like, I come up with our 3-year vision from that. I come up with most of our innovations from that. And I'm not the only one. I'm not special. Like Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, a couple of these people that I think a couple of people have heard of. That's what they do. They'll take off 2 or 3 times a year and read a stack of books, and nothing comes out of it didn't already go in. So I encourage people to do that, and they go, "Oh my God, I could never." I go, "Why not?" And they go, "Oh, because I've got kids at home and I've got this, I've got that." Yeah, I know. Have the chat. Have the chat beforehand, get the pre-agreement, and then plan for it. So you're not leaving them high and dry because you've just decided that week you're going. It takes about 6 months of prep.
Well, it's better than getting so burnt out that instead of taking 3 days, you leave.
Yeah, yes. And you're just a shell of a human at home for your family. So I am a big supporter of your notion there around that. And that is really interesting. That is actually really interesting. That's what happens in
So
marathon.
when you change, here's a question. When you shifted from corporate to the first iteration of your new life, for example, even before the true wake up call, was your family on board, or were they scared?
My wife, I think we've been together since the year 2000. So I think she's probably gotten used to me having some crazy ideas. So that night when I came home and said, babe, I bought a gym. I might as well have come home and said I bought a zoo. It would have made the exact same. She has her career. She's a psychologist, so she's got her career, and she's always backed me. She's always backed me no matter how crazy the idea was. And we're pretty good actually we haven't even had the conversation about it, but we don't bring a lot of stuff home and let it consume the household, because now we've got 3 girls under 10. And let me tell you, like what I do in business, like I'm never going to win the how was your day conversation, because Michelle, child psychologist in schools, school counselling, there's meaning and then there's meaning, right? Like Doctor Moe, same as you guys, right? Like you are literally like, but I say, like, I love what I do and I know we impact millions of people around the world. But unlike you and Michelle, I'm improving lives. I'm not saving them at the moment, right? So I still bow my heads to people like yourself and your community and Michelle and like all the unsung heroes in all the different hospitals around the world. I am definitely, I definitely have that perspective. But I love the game of business. And it's what I realized was, do you know what the most interesting thing was? I realized who I was in business and why I never felt like I fit in when I had a real job.
Talk more about that.
I just didn't fit in. I didn't, down to the, like, I didn't even know what my coffee order was when we'd go out as a team for a coffee. It's like, am I a cappuccino? Am I flat whites? I felt like I only really, when you are within a bigger corporation and you're almost like playing a character at work, and you're in the suit and you're in meetings and you're saying stuff that you don't really know if you believe in that actually, but you know it's what they want to hear because of the different agendas. And then you're playing games in terms of the corporate games. It's, the mind games in the office and that kind of stuff. I never felt like I fit in. I never, the Friday night drinks was such a culture. I never went to that. Right. And if you didn't go to that and if you didn't get drunk with your workmates, it was kind of like you weren't one of us. But I knew I wasn't one of you guys. And it was only when I became, and also because of the roles in these big organizations, is you're really only in charge of 6 inches either side of where you sit. So you just get told. We've all, through schooling, we're told to fit into the mold, and then you go through the university over here and you get a little bit more liberation and you find yourself a little bit through there. You can do whatever you want. That's why I didn't thrive at school, but I thrived at university, because that liberation, you do whatever you want. No one's going to check on you. It's up to you now, right? And I just went, oh, I like that better. Because the school I went to was a pretty strict school. It was what we call a private school here in Australia. It was still run by some sergeants, military, all boys, uniform. I got there and they just finished, corporal punishment. Like it was legit. Black Hawks would land on the main oval, rugby oval, like in the middle of lunchtime. I'm like, oh, okay. It's a sign of power. Anyway, and then you get to work, like in a big corporate. I got to work I'm grateful for it, but I got to work, I was one of 7 graduate program awardees, 7 out of 5,000 that applied. So I'm grateful for it. And it was Australia's #1 brand. So pretty good place to start. But you get shoved into a box and a lot of things are decided for you. Now, obviously in business, you are your own boss. Now that took a little bit of acclimatization, but that's where I thrive. That's where I thrive, amongst the chaos, amongst there are no rules. There is no user guide. No one's going to ask you to do this. No one's inviting you to do this. There's no written permission. Like if it's going to happen, it's going to be because of you.
And if it doesn't happen,
It's also because of you or me.
because of
Like,
you.
yeah, I just think it's one of the most liberating things to think about as the CEO of someone at the top is like, it's your fault.
Yeah, for better or
That's
for worse.
for better or for worse. Yes. It's the
Yeah, and
ultimate like judgment. Like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, I did that.
yeah, check that out.
But also like, oh God, I did that.
Yeah, that's yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the apologies to your people. It's, sorry, that was me.
It truly for me is, I know our friend Dan talks about self-help. I think business is one of the most powerful personal development, character building instruments in the world.
100%. And that's actually I'm doing a webinar coming up with another friend from Dan's group, John Mark, who he and I are doing we're actually competitors in our market, in our lifestyle medicine practice. There's plenty of business for everyone though. So, we're doing which
There's a
is
few
another
billion
thing
people.
that is
Yeah.
not corporate, right?
Mm.
That's not the corporate pie, because I used to work with people who literally kept track of their patients to make sure that they knew what they were billing on shift. And I'd be like, take the patient. I can't just take, I don't care that much. I'm doing a good job here. I'm just going to try to save a few lives. The rest is gravy, which is a lot of why I don't fit in, and I don't fit the mold. I wasn't what they needed to move people through. But then, so John Mark and I are doing this webinar, and one of the big things we focus on is going from healthcare provider to owner.
Mm.
Because we are tunneled, like you said in school, right? You're told this is how you become a doctor. You pass this test and 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 this test. And then you get knocked down at the end, and they build you back up and they push you out and they say, okay, go do your thing. And then you practice for 14 years or less usually. And then you get burned out, and then you retire, or you go into real estate, or you have a heart attack or whatever. And it's the narrative. It's just over and over. But when you shift from provider to owner, it's not about owning the company. It's about owning your time, owning your decisions, owning your impact.
I love that.
That's the difference.
And just being in charge, like having agency and a say in the like operating with just like such intention in your life, right? Like everything is by design. Everything. I have the best. Can I give your team can I give your listeners a gift?
Yes, absolutely.
The number one thing I teach, it's a non-negotiable in our world. The number one thing, I honestly can't, like we've got the sales scripts, we've got all this kind of stuff. The number one thing that has shifted the needle for a lot of people that have gone from the burnout, the confusion and living a life of shoulds to then building a life and business that they don't feel like they need to take a holiday from, is this 20-minute routine that we do every single Sunday that I call Separation Sunday.
Okay.
And every single Sunday, you can watch it happens live. You watch on my Instagram on a Sunday. Every single Sunday, there's this secret society that goes out there, goes to a cafe, orders themselves a coffee. And when that moment happens, the timer starts. By the time that coffee turns up and they've enjoyed it and finished the coffee, they have planned 1 week of their ideal life in business, personal, health, relationships, all the different areas that matter to them. So they start with intention and they decide on what needs to happen this week across those 4 pillars in order for me to call it a win the week. And then every single day, there's 3 things that they commit to every single day that they decided on the night before, that if they did those things, we got to an outcome by Friday. We call that, now editors, this might be a bit of a blip. So we call it a fuck yeah Friday.
I'll just hit the explicit button. We're fine.
Good. Okay. Fuck yeah Friday. So in all my companies, in all my communities, Friday means something. Friday means something because that's like outcomes. High achievers, the number one thing between high achievers and everyone else is high achievers work to outcomes. So on a Sunday, we call it Separation Sunday. We sit down and we go through this one template. It's one template and it's training. We normally charge for this. It's normally part of our $30,000 a year program. But if I pop up as a guest on different podcasts, I just want to help more people, obviously, since the heart attack. So if any of your listeners want this and you're on Instagram, that's mainly where I am, find me over on Instagram at hey.doza, hey.doza, and just message me the word Sunday and my team will send it over to you, like the full resources and the trainings. But 20 minutes, Doctor Moe, and Here's, I think, the biggest testimonial for this practice is people notice when they don't do it. Business improved, homes improved, they get more deep work, and they operate in 80% of their green zone, the Doctor Moe zone, where only this is your zone. This is your sweet spot. And every single week we review that and mark ourselves based on how much we felt like we were in that zone. And then every single week is just one more rep. You only get 52 reps a year. And you either win the day, you win more days than not, you win the week, you win more weeks than not, you win the month, win more months than not, you win the quarter. There's only 4 quarters. And just like what happens after doing a few reps of this, it's like you are now designing. You're the chief design officer of your life and business. And you get to decide, and then you get to enjoy the life that you designed. It's not woo. It's legit.
Nope, it's stepwise. So definitely get on Instagram, message Sunday, because we are all going to start Separation Sunday.
Yeah. You'll see on my stories, there's like I reshare everyone. They take photos of it and they tag me, and I just keep resharing. There's a club, Chief Designer.
I'll be DMing you Sunday shortly.
Do it. Absolutely do it.
No, I love that because I've felt, especially lately, we'll kind of end on this because the overwhelm is real.
Yeah.
There's so many things. Again, all those ideas that we talked about, we have so many ideas. How do you decide, number one, what you're really good at? Now, for most of us know, right? It's one of the things Dan says, what are you pretending not to know? I can say, oh, I'm doing all these things. That's bullshit.
It's bullshit.
I'm good at inspiring people, lighting a fire. I am not good at about the 1,400 things underneath that.
Yeah.
I'm like a third-year medical student with technology. I love it, and I know just enough to hurt people.
Yeah.
So I love doing it, love dabbling. Fine. Use it as a hobby, but stop doing it in your business. Hire somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Absolutely. Love that.
Yeah, it's like a med student. It's like, this is what we should do. Yeah, no, we shouldn't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Give it to the higher ups. They'll get you. They'll get you.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good place for us to end. I don't want to overwhelm the viewers, the listeners. This will be a video podcast on watchdrmoe.com. It's audible podcast, anywhere podcasts are sold. But thank you so much, Doza. I can't thank you enough from beginning to end.
Likewise.
For coming onto the show.
Likewise. You're doing a great thing. You are doing a great thing. And you're going to be able to impact exponentially more people on your terms without getting fired. Although you should fire yourself from different things that.
Yes, I'm gonna take a page from my old boss and fire myself.
Yeah, but you keep going. You're doing a great job.
No, this is great. Thank you so much to the listeners. Go to Instagram, get Doza, message him Sunday, and I'll see you on Sunday for some separation.
Perfect. See you then.